All right. Tomorrow, Joe Biden will announce a moratorium on leasing federal land for gas and oil development. That on top of a 60-day suspension of new drilling permits. Those are just two of the drastic executive orders on energy and climate made in the first week of this Biden administration. So how will this impact energy workers is the question. John Catsimatidis is the CEO and chairman of the Red Apple Group. Joins us now. Red Apple, of course, is a conglomerate which includes several biofuel and gas companies in the Northeast. John, great to have you on. Just want to get your impression of the first week of this Biden administration. What do you think?
Well, I think it's disastrous to one of America's largest industries, the oil industry. The cancellation of the pipeline, which was permitted already and was ready to go, is going to cost Americans in 2021 11,000 United States union jobs. Yeah. And then directly and indirectly in North America, Canada, and the United States, directly and indirectly 60,000 jobs. And we took the oil industry, went from 8 million barrels a day, went to $14 million barrels a day, and we became self-sufficient. And the price of oil was down in the 30s, the 40s, which made it more efficient for all the whole country. Sure. And now the price of oil has risen to $53 a barrel, which is going to raise the cost of doing business in America.
Oh, raise the cost of a lot of things in America, absolutely. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy today wrote a letter saying that this most recent Biden executive order could cause the, quote, near-term loss of approximately 1 million American jobs. Why is it such a big negative impact?
Because when the price of oil goes up and the cost of transportation goes up, transportation takes food to every city in our country. Transportation and oil affects the airline industry, which affects the tourism business, which affects the entire situation. The prices go up. And at the end of the day, the consumer ends up paying, because if it costs more to do business, naturally, the companies will raise prices. Yeah. So I think this could lead to inflation over the next 2 to 3 years.
But of course, they don't care about that. All they care about is the environment and things like the Paris Accord. On his first day, he revoked the permit. You talked about the Keystone XL pipeline, the 11,000 jobs. Let's listen to a union leader, see exactly how he put it, because this actually is impactful.
The actions that were happening recently, we were doing station work. There's hundreds of guys that got laid off. Was that Tuesday?
Any live in Wisconsin?
Yes, a lot of them live in Wisconsin.
I mean, the great irony of this, John, is that Joe Biden was put into office. He got into office because he was going to be the guy that could get Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan back from Donald Trump. And he's right off the bat burying himself. It's not going to be good for him in 2024, is it?
Well, 2024 is a long way away. Yeah. 2022, you have congressional elections. Mm-hmm. By doing presidential executive decisions, it doesn't affect the local congressman that will have to be elected in 2022.
That's a good point. The promise that there's going to be green jobs for these workers. That's what they all, you ask anybody in the administration, they always say, oh, well, we're going to make green jobs for them. That's what Pete Buttigieg said. Is that just a fantasy?
I think it's a fantasy over the next 10, 20 years. Yeah. 20 years from now, it could happen, but it's not going to happen over the next 5 years. And we're talking about the Paris Accord. The American people don't realize we have to obey it. They want us to obey it now, versus the Chinese don't have to obey it to the year 2035, which is fantasy land. It's crazy. They don't have to do it to 2035. They want us to do it now.
Yeah, that's why the Paris Accord is so stupid. And we talk about it every night on this show. It's just a very, very, very stupid idea. And for some reason, the left loves it. Trump made this country energy independent. That was a big moment. Are we going to lose that status under Joe Biden?
I think we have a good chance of losing it. Don't forget, the Keystone pipeline was going all the way down to the Gulf Coast. It was going to supply American crude, Canadian crude, and United States crude to the refineries down in the Gulf Coast, where most efficient refineries we have. And we were going to ship it out, ship it to the United States, but also ship it out. And that's competition for the OPEC and Saudi Arabia. God forbid we give Saudi Arabia competition. So in a way, Saudi Arabia and the OPEC nations do not want the Keystone Pipeline.
Absolutely. It's a big win for a lot of places. China wins big without a Keystone Pipeline. I've read that basically the Canadian oil just goes there instead. So it's all very interesting.
It goes off the Canadian coast, can go to China.
Yeah, absolutely. John Catsimatidis, CEO, Chairman of Red Apple Group. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Rob.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.